Hi, my name is Emma Frost, and today I am doing a presentation on trans youth and contemporary gender theories. So I'm going to begin by talking about a new study that's currently still going on called the Trans Youth Project. It's run by Christina Olson at Princeton University. And so what that is basically Dr. Olson observed that nowadays there's a lot of children who are coming out as transgender and being allowed to live as that gender. And so she is researching what the outcomes of that will be because that's different than traditionally how people came out as transgender. So what it is it's a 20-year long longitudinal study where they observe different aspects of these people's lives. Um, right now, it is still new, so they are mostly working with the young children and interviewing them and testing them to see if they are developing as the way that typical children of that gender are. So, for example, they're doing implicit association tests. And if you haven't heard of that, that is an example of that is a picture can show up on a screen. And in this case, they're doing gendered pictures such as a dress, and then they can choose a word that says good or bad. And it's supposed to be a quick test. You're not supposed to think about it. And the children are not told why they're taking it or what it is a test of. And that judges their responses. And so far, the responses have been extremely typical of children of who are born with the sex and the gender that they have as trans children too. So trans children are responding in the same exact way that children who are born female and feel female are. They're also doing questionnaires of similarity, such as do you feel similar to this on a scale of 1 to 5? Um, and they also have questionnaires of mental health that is asked both by their parents and of them. So, especially as they get older and become teenagers, they are asked things such as how much anxiety do they have, and do they seem more depressed than other children? And it's compared to typical children of that age and who are born of the sex that the gender that they have as well. They also observe, so when the children come to take the tests and talk to the psychologist, they're observed on things such as how they dress and the toys that they play with as well. And so far, all of the findings have found that children who are trans are responding very typically with children who are the gender that they were born with. And there haven't been anything unique to that, which I find is very fascinating. So now I'm going to go through um, different theories. Some of them are more in the past than others, and compare what this new information about trans children might be able to give these theories or take away from these theories. So the first one is psychoanalytic theories. Everybody knows Freud and his theories about that. And then there's also Lawrence Kohlberg has a cognitive developmental theory. Um, so that has three parts to it. The first one is gender identity, and that's where at the age of 2, children start to realize that there are genders and that they have one. Um, and they have a really rudimentary understanding, such as if you wear a dress, you are a woman. Then when they become around the age of 4, they start to understand that their personal gender is permanent. It also uses gender as sex interchangeably. So now we know that that isn't necessarily always the case. And then when they become 6, they have what's called gender constancy, where they realize that other people also stay the same gender forever, even if a woman were to shave her head or wear pants, she's still a woman. Next is gender schema, and that kind of took Lawrence Kohlberg's theory and said that's too much. We believe it's only gender identity, and that once children learn about gender around the age of 2, they just begin to start categorizing things through that from modeling. And they really just master that. So an example of that is Scripps and Gender, a new approach for examining gender role development. Another theory is a social theory, and an example of that is status organizing processes. And that's basically just saying that children learn about gender through their models and through what is emphasized and rewarded with them. So, for example, a lot of girls are rewarded in school for being quiet and for being kind and organized, whereas boys are rewarded for talking a lot and answering questions and being curious and adventurous and physical. Basically, it's saying that there's no component of your brain to it. It's all of gender behavior is just created by social dynamics and cultures. And then the opposite of that, in a way, is the biological theories. And they believe that it's a lot of evolution with that. So men tend to be more aggressive because cavemen were hunters, and women tend to be more nurturing because they give birth. But that has a lot of critiques against it because a lot of people don't fall into those categories. And when people looked at other cultures, a lot of men aren't more aggressive than women. And that one doesn't always hold true. There's a lot of critiques to that theory. And then the most contemporary theory that people seem to like in the modern times is the social cognitive theory of gender development and differentiation by Kay Busey and Albert Bandura. And what that says is that evolution in our biology has not determined what we must be, but it's actually created a lot of opportunities for what we can be. And things such as our culture and our environment and modeling do play a role in that, but it's not as strict of a rule that biology or sociology theories have. It's basically there's a lot of opportunities, and the way that we learn from observation and help make our own, and that informs our own decisions, creates diversity in how we express our genders. And a lot of people think that that is a more accurate theory because when you look at cultures throughout the world, there are a lot of major diverse differences. And cultures have changed a lot more rapidly than evolution would allow for. Evolution would take thousands and thousands of years, not just 200 years. So a lot of people like that theory. But so my question is, how do all of these theories hold up with this new population of socially transitioned youth? Does their gender decision how does their gender excuse me, does it help prove the points or does it detract from the points? And then lastly, how can we incorporate this information regarding gender as a general topic in our classrooms to help prevent these biases, such as valuing girls being quiet and boys being aggressive? So thank you very much. I am looking forward to hearing your responses. Okay.